People are still moving to Asheville, North Carolina, and today I'm going to tell you why. So I keep hearing that Asheville's no longer a thing, that it's kind of played out, and it's not a hot spot for artists and hippies. But it appears it still is a hot spot. Since the 1980 census, Asheville, North Carolina has grown between 12 and 21% each decade. In 2021, they took a loss of 0.06, so that's not much, and a lot of big cities that happened because of COVID. But in 2022 alone, they gained 2%. 2% in 1 year for a city of this size is a big deal. They are still very popular. Asheville is located in Buncombe County, North Carolina, and it's the biggest city in the western part of the Tar Heel State. With a population of over 90,000, this city has a lot to offer anyone that wants to move there. The city of Asheville got its start in 1784, right there next to the Blue Ridge Mountains, and for a while it was known as the Paris of the South. I mean, why not? It was just like Paris, France, with moonshine, overalls, and far fewer teeth. I was gonna make a joke about cousins marrying cousins, but come to find out that was quite popular in Paris back in the day. Asheville was named after Samuel Ashe, who was a governor for 3 years in North Carolina. Now, okay, so he's back in the colonial days, the Revolutionary War and all that, but he really didn't do anything significant. During the American Revolution, he was a lieutenant and a paymaster. Then he became the governor of North Carolina for 3 one-year terms. They named this city after him, they named a town after him, and there's a county named after him. Interesting detail about his life, he is known to have owned slaves, and one slave named Amar was a West African woman who was enslaved and brought to America, and at some point became the property of Samuel Ashe. One thing leads to another, and Samuel Ashe starts having children with her. Legendary tennis player Arthur Ashe is a direct descendant of Samuel Ashe and the slave Amar. It's very interesting. But today we're going to give the 10 reasons that were most often given in a survey of people that had moved to Asheville, North Carolina. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, LGBTQ plus friendly city. That's right, Asheville is very much an LGBTQ plus city. Okay, I'm just calling it LGBT, okay? The Q, the plus, and I know there's some other things nowadays. It's too hard for me to keep up with. No disrespect, I'm just old. Asheville is a very liberal city, and liberal cities tend to attract liberal-minded people. Gay and lesbian community is pretty liberal-minded in most cases. Asheville has 83% more gay and lesbian residents than the average American city. They have a few different events, but they have the Blue Ridge Pride Festival that brings in more than 10,000 people every October to Asheville alone. Number 9, you get all 4 seasons. Now, I've had comments where people don't think this is a big deal. Well, a lot of people it is, especially people that, let's say, lived in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Nevada. If you've lived in one of those states, it's kind of an attractive thing to be able to move someplace where they have all 4 seasons. I lived in Southern California. We had 2 seasons, t-shirt season and bikini season. That was it. It's not just people wanting to move there for the 4 seasons. Visitors come from all around the country to experience Asheville in fall. It's a big thing here. Their summers are nice and they're warm and they're not terribly humid. Now, when I say terribly humid, compared to other southern states like you'd get the humidity in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina. North Carolina's not as bad. When it comes to winter, they do get some snow. It's not terrible like upper Minnesota snow, but they do get some snow. On average, about 10 inches a year. Obviously, some years it's going to be more and some years it's going to be less. But definitely you'll see all 4 seasons if you live in Asheville. Number 8, beer and wine country. Now, this is one of those things that you don't move to a place for. I mean, unless you're a winemaker or a brewer or something like that. Most people don't move to a city because of the beer and wine scene. But if it's one of those things you're considering Asheville or someplace else, this might help you decide. The metro area of Asheville has 30 breweries. That's the second most breweries per capita in the country. Portland is number 1. When it comes to wineries, this is a great wine country area up here near Asheville. Within an hour drive of downtown Asheville, there's more than a dozen wineries. The most visited winery is the Biltmore Winery and Vineyards. This actually at a mansion that was built by George Vanderbilt. I think at one point it was the largest home ever built in the United States. It's a mansion. I think it's been outdone since then, or it still might be. I looked it up and it was different ones had different square footage and bigger lots, and yeah, it was weird. But it's definitely one of the top 10 largest homes or estates built in the United States. Number 7, great place to raise a family. Asheville is considered one of the best places in the United States to raise a family. There's no shortage of fun activities for the whole family here, from hiking the Blue Ridge Mountains to exploring the city's many family-friendly events and festivals. They got zip lining, all that good stuff. There's plenty of stuff to do for a family in the Asheville area. On top of that, they've got pretty good schools. Asheville has 3 area schools that placed among North Carolina's top schools in their 2020 rankings. They've got great private schools, and they don't have a terrible crime rate. Families in Asheville look like this. 42.2% are married, 14% are divorced, 25.3% are married with children, 18.8% have children but are single. Number 6, a decent economy. When you're looking to relocate, especially for a job or something like that, this plays a big part. How's the economy? Is it stable? Isn't it stable? What's going on there? What's the unemployment rate? All those stats look pretty decent in the Asheville area. The unemployment rate in Asheville tends to stay a couple points below the national average. Give you an example. In July of 2021, the U.S. average unemployment rate was 6%. Asheville was sitting at 4.4%. In September of 2022, the national average was 3.5, Asheville was 2.7. If you work in tourism, healthcare, education, food services, you won't have a hard time finding a job in Asheville, North Carolina. Number 5, art lovers and artists. Yes, that's who should live here, art lovers and artists. And a lot of artists will flock to a place where there's a good art community. Asheville's exactly that. They have a neighborhood called the River Arts District, and it's home to more than 25 studios featuring art from well over 200 artists. The area is known for its creative residents, and you'll find local and regional art everywhere in this neighborhood. Also, it's not just like painters and things like that. You'll find glass blowers, woodworkers. They'll give you classes on it. You can watch them work. It's a really, really neat place. And it runs right along the French Broad River. And if you need a beer while you're there, go to the Old London Road English pub. Been there. It's pretty nice. It's not nice like it's a fancy place to go. It's a great place to get a beer. But yeah, that's kind of what Asheville's known for, is their art scene. Number 4, the great outdoors. Yes, if you didn't know, Asheville is one of those places where the outdoor types flock to. There's a couple other places. Denver was always that way. Back before it became extremely expensive, Aspen was that type of town. Bend, Oregon. A lot of different states had a lot of outdoor types just flock there just because they want to be closer to nature. Asheville is a perfect example of that. This is a mountain town that's surrounded on all sides by the Blue Ridge Mountains. Asheville's a major hub for whitewater rafting and kayaking, arguably one of the best places on the eastern side of the United States. They got some areas in West Virginia that'll give them run for their money, but Asheville's pretty serious about it. Transylvania County, which is just south of Asheville, is known as the land of the waterfalls, with over 200 waterfalls you could hike to. Number 3, the music scene. Asheville, North Carolina is one of the 10 best music cities in the country. You can grab a show any night of the week at one of the many pubs or bars or theaters or whatever, and there's usually a line around the block. Let's say you can't get in, you got music on the streets. This is one of those places that will have street performers all over the place. Some people find them annoying. I think they're great. You'll hear some really good music. If you just stop on the sidewalk, throw the guy a couple bucks in his hat or his guitar case that he's got open. This is one of those things that if you're not a musician, you don't understand, but musicians will move to towns like Asheville specifically for the music scene. Occasionally, fans will move someplace like Asheville for the music scene. They have the Mountain Dance and Folk Festival, which was started in 1928 and is said to be the first event ever labeled a folk festival. Number 2, land for sale. This is the strong point of Asheville, and it's what a lot of people move to this area for. Lots of land. You just buy some property out in the woods, put a tiny house or some kind of trailer, and live off the grid. That is a very popular thing to do in the Asheville, North Carolina area. Thing is, it's probably a little more expensive than, let's say, Arizona or something like that, but you're getting beautiful land. As opposed to Arizona, you're getting a chunk of desert, which looks a lot like an empty Kmart parking lot. The land around Asheville is is beautiful, and you can get a lot there for as low as $70,000 for 3 acres. They have a ton to choose from. The lots really start off probably around $30,000 is the lowest I've seen, and they go all the way up to $300,000. And obviously $35,000 has something maybe an acre and a half, where the $300,000 one might have 10 acres and a creek and a view. The off-the-grid tiny home van life thing has become more and more popular in recent years. I just did a video on it. Asheville, North Carolina is one of the best places to do it, especially if you don't want to be on the road all the time. You want to find a place to park, call home. This is a great place to buy some land. You can call a real estate agent today. Get the ball rolling. Side note, I think I'm going to do a video about tiny home builders. There's a lot of these companies around the country that will build you a tiny home and deliver it to wherever you want to put it. So yeah, I might do a video on that. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. We'd love it if you went over there and subscribed. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, it's friendly. Yeah, Asheville, North Carolina is a very friendly city. That's one of the biggest draws, and more than drawing people in, it's what makes people stay. The people of Asheville, and really a lot of this part of the country, are very friendly. It's not like, you have in Colorado where they're always telling you not to move there and everything else like that. Hey, I'm sure some of the locals feel that way, but you probably never know it. They're decent people out here. This is a great part of the country if you're looking for decent human beings. I was reading a few blogs of people that live in the Asheville area, and one I thought was pretty interesting. They said it's not uncommon to walk into a restaurant here and they know your name. It's like that friendly vibe. They take the time out to know who you are, where if you go to Buffalo Wild Wings or someplace in a city, you're just another number to them. Asheville has less than 100,000 people, so it's easier to be a friendly environment with that low of a population. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.